The MGJ Engineering Circuit Rally Championship got back underway, as is now traditional, with its opening round at Oulton Park. The Salford, Van Hire, Neil Howard stages. And once again, we'd see a good mix of returning faces and new names joining an all-star cast for this opening round of the championship. 8 varied stages lay ahead of the crews, including gravel, asphalt, and also that water splash. Fastest out of the blocks will be Mark Kelly and Richard Scarborough, this being Richard's second time sitting in with Mark, the last time resulting in victory. So they'll be looking to keep that 100% record together. Michael Argo and Will Atkins end the morning's first 2 stages in second place. They were a handful of seconds back from the lead, but that didn't matter for now as far as the championship was concerned. Kelly not registered for points this season. Reigning champions, and it only feels like they were crowned 5 minutes ago, doesn't it? John Griffiths and Emma Morrison return to put in a defence of that championship title. And with third place at this stage, it was a strong start. A 10-second penalty, the difference between the lead of the championship crews and where they are now. For Stephen Simpson and Chris Williams, it would be just another 2 seconds back, all very close after the opening 2 stages of action this morning. For Kyron Hankin and James Swallow, it would be 5th place, 16 seconds back from Simpson in the Fiesta up ahead. And Jason and Lee Wilson joined the championship for this season, looking to take the fight to the 4-wheel drive cars in the Darien. Hardly Darien weather, but despite this, they make a strong start with the Class D lead from 6th place overall. For Paul Murrow and Callum Cross, it will be 7th. They could have been a place higher had it not been for a stall on the second stage. They spin it out on the rally school section of the stage as well, almost styling it out with a donut. We know what you were doing. The car, unfortunately, cutting out, costing them a handful of seconds to get going again and, well, cancelling out that style. Previous and multiple rally winner here, Graham Coffey, this time with fellow driver John Cope alongside, was out once again in the Fiesta S2000 Turbo, a young person's car as he calls it. But they were still going well nevertheless, without that comfort blanket of an S12B, lying in 8th place overall. Tony Robinson and Paul Spooner return in the Skoda again this season. And the times were looking good, 3 seconds back from Coffey at this stage in 9th overall. And rounding out the top 10 at this stage were Rob Hughes and Sean Cunniff. They were having a bit of a problem with the brake pressure on the car, not having a good feeling at all. It was lower as well on the leaderboard than we would have expected them to be at this stage. Let's take a look then at some of the class results so far. The Darien of Jason and Lee Wilson up ahead in Class D. It will be up to Philip House and Nick Beaumont to hold second at this stage. And 21 seconds back from them in third place will be the Clio of Jackson Willett and Ryan Gray. 16th place overall for the pair as well for now. The Class B lead at this early stage will belong to this man, Stephen Johansson, Lucy Gutteridge alongside. A reasonable 23-second advantage in the lead of that class as well for now. And that lead would be over Christian Davies and Ethan Zdrowski. The Subaru pair not too far behind either. Certainly possible to go for the lead, but themselves with only a handful of seconds as a comfort margin in that class position. Behind them then, and only 10 seconds back to be exact, will be Tom Evans and Jack Morris. The Evo pair actually losing a bit of time as well, so we could surely expect them to come on strong and try and turn that around through the next few stages. Class C will be led by Will Owen and Chloe Thomas. The Escort pair putting in some good times to lie in 12th place on the overall leaderboard as well after stage 2. And it was 21 seconds back to Alistair Stables and Neil Jones. The Chevette pair were looking like good competition for the Escorts in that class as they mix it with the top of the results in 15th overall. Just behind that Larry grey Chevette in third place will be James Garner and Jordan Joins. Just 6 seconds back in the class and 2 places back overall at this stage. In Class E, it was the Saxo of Sean Jones and Ivan Devine leading the way once the morning's opening stages were out of the way. They take a lead of 17 seconds in the class at this stage. And it was the lead over the Peugeot of Louis Baines and Chris Coombs. They themselves having a 23-second advantage in that second place in the class, but it was far from comfortable at this stage. And rounding out the class podium positions at this stage will be Chris Phillips and Sarah Hughes, the Peugeot pair in 29th place on the overall leaderboard. Finally, to Class F, it would be the lead for Adam Philpotts and Sean Rowlands. They'd have over half a minute of a lead in the class for now, one of the biggest gaps in the rally so far, in fact. And chasing that mighty micro down will be Richard and Julia Perry in the Nova, themselves with a good advantage in second place. But they'd be looking too at moving up the overall results. Meanwhile, rounding out the podium positions in Class F for now, and with a new co-driver alongside, was Kay Thompson. Robert Wiggins calling the notes this weekend, 62nd place overall as well in the micro. So with the morning's first two stages complete here at Oulton Park and the weather well and truly drawing in, the results at the top are starting to shape up like this on the leaderboard. Through the next couple of stages then, and we wouldn't see any change in the lead of the rally. Mark Kelly and Richard Scarborough continuing to dominate. In fact, increasing their advantage by a few more seconds now as well. Michael Igo and Will Atkins knew that they needed to keep it going without any problems to take the championship victory. A win overall would be nice, but the championship points were the main goal for this weekend, to get that championship campaign well and truly lit. They remain second place, leading our championship cruise for now. The first change, in fact, on the leaderboard would be in third place. Stephen Simpson and Chris Williams moving up to take that final step on the podium, going into the second half of the rally, and clearly pushing the car hard on these stages. That, of course, means that for our reigning champs, John Griffiths and Emma Morrison, they're down a position. But just like at the top of the leaderboard, Simpson wasn't registered for the points, so as far as the championship was concerned, they were still in second place for the points. No change to fifth for Kyron Hankin and James Swallow. They keep hold of that position in the Peugeot and would have a bit of a gap as well to the cruise ahead, meaning it was a big ask to change things around for the afternoon, but it was clear they were on for a big push. Paul Moreau and Callum Cross did, however, change their position around, managing to claw back some lost time, moving into sixth place for now. That would mean that Jason and Lee Wilson, still really impressive in these atrocious conditions in that Darien, would move down to seventh. The pair still leading the way in Class D, though, of course, as we reach the midpoint in the rally. Things were still going pretty smoothly for Graham Coffey and John Cope, although we would like to have been a fly on the wall inside that Fiesta. No change for them as far as the results were concerned at this stage. They remain in 8th place overall for now. A similar story as well for Tony Robinson and Paul Spooner. No drama, but remaining where they were all morning in 9th place overall. And rounding out the top 10 now would be Will Owen and Chloe Thomas. Going well, moving their way up the overall results, as well as holding on to that Class C lead. This opening round at Oulton Park then reaches the midway point. Here's a quick look over those results after stage 4 here at the Salford Van Hire Neil Howard stages. We head out then into the afternoon, and the darkness starts to creep in here at Oulton Park. The spot lumps are ready for the last couple of stages. Here's a look at some of the changes in the classes. We see Joshua Dallymore and Leonie Marchbank making the trip from the Isle of Man to compete in the little Mr. Bean Mini, and they take a third place in class finish in Class F. It was a move the right way as far as the class results were concerned for Kay Thompson and Robert Wiggins. Getting to grips with things well inside the car for a new pairing, they end the rally second place in the class, 56th overall. But taking the class victory will be Adam Philpotts and Sean Rowlands, the pair having held on to that lead for the whole day. In Class E, it was change all round. Joshua and Tamsin Davy moving up to take third place. It wasn't the start to the season that we'd expected, and they were out in a Peugeot 107 instead of the Darien. But don't get us wrong, that is no ordinary Peugeot 107. No change to second, that going to Louis Baines and Chris Coombs. The Peugeot 106 pair sticking close to the eventual class winners throughout the day. But staying defiant to take that victory was Sean Jones and Ivan Devine. They managed to extend their lead a little in the afternoon, ending with a 29-second buffer in the end. In Class D, it's Chris Woodward and Kevin Aiken moving up a place in the class to take third. A strong end for the Clio pair this weekend. That will be the only change in Class D though, with Philip House and Nick Beaumont, who are normally to be found here at Oulton Park, instructing race and rally drivers, keeping hold of their second place in the class. Not getting close enough to the class leaders to mount a challenge, but we will see in our top 10 roundup shortly. In Class C though, first it will be third place for James Garner and Jordan Joins. They wouldn't change their position at all in the afternoon, despite some changes around them on the leaderboard. A good end to the event though. This is, as we've already said, hardly Darien weather. Second in that class would go to a man who didn't have a smile off his face all day, Martin Hodgson. Catherine Booth alongside, gaining some time back after a problem with the Escort not running well through the morning. They take second in the class, 14th overall. There is change though in the lead of Class C. We lose Will Owen and Chloe Thomas. They crash out, not able to continue the event. That drama then handing the Class C victory to Alistair Stables and Neil Jones. A great start to the season for the pair in that grey Chevette. A 13-second advantage as well by the finish. Class B would see a big shake-up through the afternoon. Stepping into third place by the finish will be Ian Jarvis and Harry Walshaw in the Evo. Second in the class, our only previous top 3 contenders still in there. Tom Evans and Jack Morris moving up a position, in fact, into second by the end of the event in their Evo. But with a great comeback drive on the times, it would be class victory for Adrian Spencer and Mark Hewitt in the Subaru WRC replica, taking a dominant victory of almost 2 minutes by the end of the rally as well. On to our top 10 overall leaderboard then. There actually wouldn't be a 10th place finisher. David Burns and Steve Hallmark would actually be tied on times with another crew, meaning they share 9th place. And the other crew? Well, it would be the Skoda pair of Tony Robinson and Paul Spooner. Consistent pace throughout the day had got them to this point on the overall results. A strong finish here at the opening round. No change for Graham Coffey and John Cope. They managed to get that Fiesta back home with an 8th place finish, only 4 seconds off 7th. And no doubt feeling very accomplished inside that little Darien. Jason and Lee Wilson, despite swapping times and positions a number of times throughout the day, end the rally with 7th. A very impressive finish, especially given the day-long wet conditions that they faced. For Paul Murrow and Callum Cross, it would be 6th. The rally hadn't exactly been completely straightforward for them, but they'd had a good run overall to take a strong finish on the opening round. For Kyron Hankin and James Swallow in the Peugeot 208 T16, it would be 5th place overall. The good news for them, however, is that there were 2 crews above them not registered for championship points, so as far as that goes, it would be a podium finish to open up their championship campaign for 2023-24. The same good fortune for John Griffiths and Emma Morrison as well, or was it good management? Unable to add victory number 1 to the score sheets just yet, but 2nd place was a strong way to open up that defence of their title for this season. But all of that means that taking maximum points away from the opening round towards their championship account would be Michael Igo and Will Atkins. They'd had a mixed season last year, it was fair to say, but the pace had always very clearly been there, and with the new season getting off to the best possible start, they would be our first winners and indeed lead the championship going to round 2 at Cadwell Park. With those maximum points dished out then, it will be back to the overall rally results and our non-championship crews. And for Stephen Simpson and Chris Williams, it will be a good end to the rally. They gain a position in the final stages to take a hard-fought 2nd place overall this weekend. But taking a victory that never really looked in doubt, did it, would be Mark Kelly and Richard Scarborough. A very, very good end to the rally for the pair. A victory of just over a minute by the finish. So at the end of a slippery, varied and pretty challenging opening round, winter rallying is underway in the MGJ Engineering Circuit Rally Championship. The results at the top shaped up like this. Next up, the crews head to Cadwell Park, a popular event in the championship, our first visit and always a big challenge for the crews. We'll be there with live coverage throughout the event and a roundup of action in the weeks following. We'll see you there.